Bill's offensive scheme.
Yep.
We're breaking it down right now on This Week in Madden. Bill's playbook. You just showed us the Singleback Tight Slots.
Yeah.
So you said you can come out in 2 plays.
Yep.
Either
3 plays,
the
but 4
pitch,
plays.
which we just showed.
Pitch.
So go back and watch that. Or the deep post. So
Yep.
we'll show you deep post. We just showed you how to run the pitch, but the pitch is generally you're gonna figure it out. So deep post from Bill's playbook. Give us a little breakdown.
So I like deep post, great play, one of the better base plays in the game. A lot of quick options. I like to run it flipped. We'll get to that again in a later part about when we audible from this set. But what I like about this play is you have a nice corner, you have a table route to the halfback, but most importantly, I think the most important route on this play is the route to B. This is a unique post. It's essentially a backbreaker route. And it can do a lot of damage to your opponent. Now, what's good about this is the fact that you can flip the formation and they never know. So you can run the post off to Sanu on the right, and then they're going to go try and user it, and the next thing you know, you run it off the left side.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes this completely difficult to defend. Now, the next thing you have here, like I said, is a table out to the halfback, right? This table pattern, obviously you're going to curl flat there, which is fine, but if your opponent does play cloud flats, they blitz, they leave that open, it's always an option.
There you go.
And here's the example here.
Just actually was going between hard flat and curl flat.
That's fine.
Going for you.
So there's the table pattern right there. It's going to be most effective for you when you face cloud flat. So when that is good is if you face someone that plays Tampa 2 on the outside, this route actually becomes really effective for you in that short flat. You break a tackle there, but by default, it's about a 4 or 5 yard gain, just dumping it off. And what's good, again, you can make them respect both parts of the field here. They have to respect both sides.
That's a purple, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they have to respect both sides of the field with that table pattern. Now, you can run this play stock and not make adjustments because you have a quick drag to Jones. Then you change the depth of another pattern that is like a levels concept with Hooper. So the idea here is this. They jump to the drag, and they leave that open behind it, right? So that's the thought process. And what's good about the flow of these routes is there's a progression. And here's the progression. In this instance, when Farls jumps to the drag, he can't recover to the post. He can recover with good stick to the Hooper route.
Yes.
But because he jumps to the drag first, he cannot get to the post. The post is just, he's gone at this point. It's too far. He'd have to completely, it becomes too difficult to get back and get depth on that.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
Now, vice versa is the following. If you bail and go to the post, you're going to now not be able to get to the drag, right? So you didn't bail and go to the post.
I was going to the in, then
Sure.
the post.
But if you bail and go to the post, you can then, if you play
It's
at
hard
depth,
for me to talk and have bad stick.
Yeah, I gotcha. If you bail and go to the post, and then you can recover and get to the deep end, but you're going to have a very difficult time to recover and get to this drag pattern here. You might be able to get a hit stick coming down, but to take it away and make a user play on it, it makes it difficult. So there's a progression here of where you watch their user go, you go to that next level that they can't get to, and that's what makes it difficult. And you can, again, don't forget, you can flip it here, so they start thinking one thing, and then you got it behind in there. You can see how much space.
And that's a killer. Anytime you give up that route, man. That's a unique route, but that area of the field, that throw, that thing, it's like you can see it coming right before they throw it. You just go, I just gave up 18 yards. That kills you.
Right. Next thing I have off this, I like to, if I do make an adjustment, drag Hooper in this instance here. Then you run a mesh off this, right? So now you're making them respect both sides. Right there, that's a tough read for you to make. Who are you going to go to? You went to the wrong guy, I throw the open receiver. There is wiggle room to throw in this corner pattern if there are no cloud flats on the field, even against the cover 4. If you throw this to the sideline, that was a bad low pass. But if you throw it to the sideline, you can get that to get mixed in towards that sideline. You're so good, dude. Congratulations.
ZFarls Play of the Day nominee.
Yeah? But here's, again, one more time. You don't have to change your zones or anything. But you can see what happens on this corner. What's different when you're out in a spread alignment, the safeties or the corners are more aligned with the receivers. But because they're out wide, watch what happens on this break. He's out wide, so the corner's going to cut in, and then his back gets turned right there. So now his back is turned. That now allows me to throw that open because, look, his hips are the wrong way. He can't get there in time, so that's why that corner can be thrown. Even against a cover 4, even against a guy with 90-plus zone coverage, 91-plus zone coverage. Doesn't matter. What ends up happening is his hips are turned. When his hips turn, in that instance there, I can fit that in. It doesn't matter zone coverage. So it's because the physics of his hips turning do not allow him to get there, and that works on both sides of the ball. Now, we'll say your timing needs to be impeccable.
Yeah,
you can't throw late.
In hoopers,
you can't throw late. And right there, see his hips didn't turn?
And that's also Sherman.
It's also
Sherman.
But his hips don't turn. Hips don't lie, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, these are all really good plays to mix in. Something that you can also consider to do here is to use motion with what you're running, right? So if you motion with the pitch, right, you can get a great flow by motioning over this corner.
Yeah, then I think it's the pitch.
Right, you think it's the pitch, but now my route progression is fantastic. I have 2 posts that makes it really difficult for you to defend, right? So watch, post number 1 is the corner that goes first. Post number 2 comes in behind it. So it becomes a great route combo there that is really difficult to defend because they better man up one guy, they better go to the other post, and then you leave the underneath stuff open, right? So that's the idea and the process of why to use the motion. Mimic your pitch with it, and then throw open your receiver, right? So that's the main understanding of how I run this pass play. Now, you can run halfback wheel. I don't love running it.
Some people do.
Some people do. I'm not there yet with it. I've only been running this scheme for a week. I'm not there with it yet. But what I do love is this PA shot post. Now, give me a cover 3, Farls. You get cover 3, you get cover 2s, you get all this coverage. What I can tell you is that there is a opening. Now, Earl Thomas might be a problem here because of how good his coverage is. But you have a chance at one play touchdown to get over the top of the defense with the right receivers, the right mix on the field with this deep post, and you need a big quarterback arm. That's a bad pass lead. Earl Thomas is going to help combat against that throw. But with this PA post shot, the way you run this, and this isn't a given every single time, right? It's you try it and see if it works. So, for example, if I want to take a shot deep, this is one of my best options. So you go to that cover 3. What you want is in combination with the post to Sanu, you want to out pattern on the opposite side. I like to smart route them. Then on that, I like to just have a drag, but most importantly, it's that route to Jones and the deep post. And that creates a little canale for you because right there, and now I just got to chuck it. And then now you can see how you can have a lot of success. Now, Earl Thomas there, not your Earl Thomas opposed to the Cam Chancellor. Mm-hmm. That's the difference there. But that's how you can get it. You need time in the pocket. Like if I were to just put everyone on routes, I get into trouble. You get into trouble real quick because there's a lot of block shedding. So I need time in the pocket here. You need a good throw see, that time I didn't get the great throw. And you can see how Earl Thomas plays it better there, and that's where it's not always effective, but it is a great way to get the ball vertically downfield and try to create a little canale down there. And it's a way I like to try and attack vertically against a lot of these coverage defense you're seeing.
Good play, good shot downfield. So that's the Singleback Tight Slots. You mentioned halfback wheel. We can skip over that for now. We've shown it a bit. Anything crazy you do from halfback wheel before we jump into what else you like to do?
There's a lot of similarities with halfback wheel to the deep post. So that's why I'm not there yet with it. I need
to show the art on
it. I need to jump in and start running a little bit, but a lot of similarities with the routes and how it works.
Okay.
And here's my point, right? I think the deep post route on the deep post on deep post is a better route than the post on halfback wheel. And the thing is this. The reason you call halfback wheel is because it has that post, right? It's unique. The reason you call the deep post is it's got a post and it's also got a table route. So there's kind of a two beneficial system of what makes deep post a better play.
Yes.
They both have corners. They both got deep ins and drags, right? So you remember that. So there's two advantageous routes to calling deep post opposed to one advantageous route with halfback wheel.
All right, so that's your base setups from the Bills playbook for Singleback Tight Slots.
Yep. Now,
what else do you add onto this scheme, sprinkle in here as you run this thing?
So what I've been running is taking Singleback Tight Slots and then audibling up into gun bunch quads. So I empty it. I go empty, and I haven't had a problem. I went on a 20-game win streak, got all the way to all Madden first string, running this offense this past weekend. And I've had a lot of success with it. Now, I ran into a little hiccup yesterday facing some Tampa 2, and I'm still labbing it, figuring it out. But primarily, I really like this. I love bunch. We all know that. So I also love bunch on the left side of the field. So when you remember, why are you coming out in the play flipped? Well, I'm coming out in the play flipped because I want the bunch on the left side of the field. So